Do you know what the date is today?
Friday, June 16th, 2023.
And Sars Stock, July 30th, 2003. Now I'm with Al Petrovic, Al Yeti Bones. The last video we did about the loop 2 years ago, and we've become buddies since. You know, we see each other all the time. We're neighbors. I had so much fun doing that video, and so many people enjoyed it that I wanted to do another one. And I think this is perfect because you and I, we were both at Sars Stock.
We were, yeah.
Toronto had the reputation for being the epicenter of the SARS outbreak. It was a global scare, and everybody was worried that this thing was going to spread like a wildfire. People didn't go to Toronto for a while.
And so this was in hopes to reinvigorate tourism again?
Yeah, and the Rolling Stones, who had been a longtime friend to the city of Toronto, they always opened their tours there over the years.
They played small clubs there too.
They're like, Toronto, we got you. They came, they did this, they brought all their friends.
Step into the mental DeLorean and go back. It's just the details a little bit are
How did you get
cloudy.
there?
Steph and I drove.
So the two of you, dating at the time?
Yeah, we were on the highway. I remember we were like gridlock traffic for hours. And then there was this motorbike that came up between the lanes, stops right beside us, and he's like, "You guys taking Keel exit?" Before GPS and all that stuff, before like we had that, we're just rummaging through the maps and stuff. I'm like, I think we'll do Keel. And then he's like, yeah. And then he's like, have fun. And he just goes. Maybe an hour later, we shoot out that exit, park, and start walking. And then we were at the gates and just thousands and thousands of people, and incredible.
Tell me what bands you remember seeing that day.
Sass Jordan, when we first got in, I remember standing in the beer line while the tea party was on. I felt so proud at that moment. Just this like moment of pride where, it's like a band that I grew up listening to in grade school and loving, and learning how to play their guitar lines and stuff, and just being a big tea party fan. Not a lot of people knew who they were, and then here they are playing on this huge stage for the world, essentially.
There was between 400,000 and 500,000 people there.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at the exact number and show it, but I think it was pretty close to 500,000 people. Remember back in the day when you had a disposable camera and you had, 24 shots? You just went out and you just got what you got. Of those 24 photos, maybe one of them is good. Now photography has changed so much. Well, at least it gives it a sense of the time and the space and the geography of everything. There's the sunset shot. That's very nice. You remember beach balls?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some good shots of the crowd size. Well, remember back then, it was different. Nobody had video cameras on them. Now everybody's got a video. If that happened now,
everybody would know about it in real time.
God, that's an awful picture of me. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. That's so bad.
Yeah.
Who else was on that bill?
Timberlake. Justin Timberlake was on it.
A young Justin Timberlake.
When they were throwing bottles, they were throwing water bottles at him.
But to his credit, he did take it like a champ.
Yeah, he sure did. New respect for that guy. I must admit, I like some of his stuff now, though.
He's a legend.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's part of it. People were hurling water bottles at the poor man.
All of a sudden, bottles of urine were then thrown on the stage. It wasn't always good times for me, you guys.
And of course, AC/DC. That was the intention for us, was to go see AC/DC again. We've seen them so many times. You get a chance to see them, you have to go.
I went up there with two of my high school buddies, Jason Kovac and Ty Campbell, and we didn't know what we were getting in for. We had camped out at the Pinery the night before, visited some sites there. There was a drive-in movie theater that we checked out I had never been to, but I started going there after that. And then we got there, same story as you, waited forever to park. This concert was kind of out in the boonies. It was an old Air Force base. They needed the land to fit everybody in, but it was right out in the open. There was no shade or anything. Huge fields and tons of people. Yeah. And people had been there all day. It started with the Tea Party, and then it went to the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, I remember
and the
Blues
Flaming
Brothers.
Lips, I think, was another band that played.
Yes.
I had never seen AC/DC before, but by the time they got out there, the sun was going down. It was beautiful. Yeah. It was a beautiful night. Everybody was so excited to see them, and they came on. And from the second that they started, they just owned the crowd. And at one point, the guitar player took off his shorts and he had Canadian underwear on.
Yeah.
That was a killer moment.
The quintessential showman.
There were so many people there, and they were out in the sun, and they were all young people. It seemed like a lot of teenagers and young adults like us. We were in our 20s, early 20s, right? Everybody got wasted.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of debauchery and things going on, things that maybe it's commonplace at festivals, but I hadn't been to too many festivals to that point.
I hadn't seen stuff like that, but like, I mean, with the pictures.
We have a bunch of pictures from that day, a roll that I took, and it's me and my friends on our travels. We're at the concert. You can see from far away a disposable camera shot of the crowd. That was kind of cool. But then there's other photos. You can see some debauchery going on in the background. I saw a guy crowd surfing get dumped into the mud and just left there, people getting trampled.
It's crazy.
Did you guys hang at the back? Where did you end up watching the shows from?
More of like right side of the stage, mid area. There was still many levels to the stage, a spot where our view was better watching a TV, watching one of the screens, but like the stage was in our view, but it was small. So it was like, for reference, it was great to look back and forth between a Jumbotron and the stage. We were still close enough. Now it was like, as the show went on, like we just progressively moved back further and further. And then by the time AC/DC was on, we were probably like pretty far back. We knew the plan. We were making our way out when the Stones went on. Not because, I didn't want to see the Stones. It was just, wanted to beat the traffic.
I was making my way trying to get as close as I could, like a moth to a light. And then you can only get so far. There's a barrier wall set up where you can't get through. At that point, people were kind of spilling over it. The security guys weren't going to stop you.
Right.
So I was with my two buddies, Ty and Jay, and I'm like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to bust over here. And they're like, no. So we split up. I ran and jumped over into the other side and just kept going to see how far I could get.
Wow.
And this is just before AC/DC even came on.
And then I remember to my left was a beer tent. Like, that's like very vivid. All the amenities, making sure that you're near all that stuff, the provisions.
As the night went on, the security kind of just like melted down. They weren't really caring. And I remember another issue I was having was water. I had no water. I didn't have any beer. I was just on a safari trying to get as close as I could to the stage,
Oh my God.
And I ended up hopping over another barrier, this time into this actual security area where their golf carts were lined up. There was tractor trailers lined up with supplies. There was those long rows, right? Yeah. But there was nobody there. So I ended up sitting down while the Rolling Stones were playing. I had already seen AC/DC. I was sitting down with my feet up in a golf cart with a case of water behind me. But when AC/DC was playing, there was a guy who went into that same area and climbed up the back of a tractor trailer. And the guy was up there watching AC/DC, shirtless, bobbing his head, and all the security guys were down below him trying to talk him down.
Wow.
Did you see this?
No.
One of my most vivid memories from that day, watching this guy. He was going to watch AC/DC, and then he would tease them. He lowered himself down into the crowd halfway where they were trying.
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, where they were trying to grab him, and then he pulled himself back up, and the crowd went crazy. And then, they were chasing him around, and more guys were coming to try to get him off.
Oh my God.
Finally, they got him off.
Yeah.
And they dragged him away.
Yeah.
But I guess they had enough courtesy for him that they dragged him away with facing the stage. Like, he was able to watch AC/DC dragged away, and he was still bobbing his head.
Well, the distance is so long from probably where that was to getting him out that he would have seen the whole show in reverse, but just being pulled away.
Oh, here's something that I wanted to mention. Did you see Rush that day?
Oh yeah, fucking Rush. That's right, Rush. Rush was the other big one, right before AC/DC. They were amazing. I love Rush so much, and yeah.
My first exposure to Rush.
Oh, no way, really?
I knew some of their massive songs, but that was the first time I ever saw them play.
I don't think I'd seen Rush live prior to that. So it was my first and only time seeing Rush live.
Me too.
And just unbelievable.
I got a question for you. When you were watching Rush, they had on stage with them the dryers.
Yeah.
They had dryers running. How many dryers would you say they had back there?
Oh, God.
They had industrial laundromat dryers behind them. And there was something in those dryers, Al. What was in those?
I don't remember. Clothes?
At the end of their set, they opened the dryers and it was Rush shirts and they passed them out to the fans.
Oh, that's
And it was one of those things.
how hot it was out there.
People wanted crispy
It
shirts.
happened there.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You were lucky because you were with your girlfriend, Steph, who's now your wife, Steph. And you guys can share those memories with each other. And she's got memories too. And so together you guys have that whole experience. Whereas, you know, me, I was with those two guys who were my high school buddies, but we all went our separate ways after.
Yeah.
Right? And I tried to talk to one of them about it. And his recollection was so different than mine. It was shocking.
Wow.
You know, we survived it. And reflecting back, you're a musician and you're a concert goer. You've been to a lot of concerts over the years and you've played a lot of concerts.
Yep.
Where does that one measure up?
Historically, it's up at the top.
You know, you didn't just go to see the Flaming Lips, but they were there. You didn't, you know, I had never seen AC/DC, never would see AC/DC again.
Yeah.
Rush, same thing. You know, Rolling Stones, that was the one and only time I saw them.
Yeah.
And well, let's talk about the Stones too, because for that concert, they don't get all the accolades because they had to come on after AC/DC, who slayed it.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones, I think, waited almost an hour before they went on after that. They had to wait for some of the energy to subside.
Yeah.
They came out, first tune they played, you remember? Or were you gone at that point? It'll make sense. It'll all come crashing back. Started me up.
Oh.
Timberlake. Rolling Stones brought him back out at the end.
That's right.
He did a couple songs and everybody
That's right.
respected him after that day.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear them play Sympathy for the Devil. That had always been my favorite Rolling Stones tune. And I made up my mind if they played it, as soon as it was over, I was going towards the car.
Yeah.
But we all met up. We ended up coming back to Windsor and we rarely hung out after that. We all went our separate ways.
I understand. I know.
I ended up going to a lot of concerts in my life because I worked as a cameraman at Caesars.
Yeah.
So I would see all these bands come through, and so I often think what one measures up high on the list for me, right? And it's Sars Stock.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, and I bought a t-shirt there from that day, and I think I still have it. It's kicking around here somewhere. The Rolling Stones mouth and the tongue coming out. The tongue has a Canada flag on it. Yeah, it was a defining moment. No other concert was like it throughout the years, and I don't think I'd go back.
No. Everybody coming from far and wide.
Could that concert even happen again?
At the end of 2022, maybe. I don't know if people were jonesing hard enough for music.
No, it was a one-of-a-kind experience, and whenever I wear that t-shirt out, people would always comment on it. Hey, you were there? I was there.
See, that's cool.
Yeah, and then we'd shoot the breeze over that for a little bit. Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me. This is
Thanks for
always
having
fun.
me, Alan.
For more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Michael Evans, Windsor, Ontario. Shout out to my old pal Gilly, who insists that he partied with Mick Jagger at Sars Stock. Seriously, 20 years later, and he's still willing to die on that hill. And shout out to the guy that kinda looks like Mick Jagger, who managed to convince these kids that he was the genuine article. Were you at Sars Stock? What are your memories? Please let me know in the comments section.